In 1912, Wilfrid Voynich bought 30 manuscripts. Within them was a strange manuscript that had depictions of plants and women bathing in strange liquid. While the drawings were mysterious, the bigger mystery was the script. It was not written in any known language, and it has defied being solved by anyone to this day. This week, we're talking about the Voynich Manuscript. Welcome to Let's Be Briefed. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Sydney.
And we're diving into the Voynich Manuscript this week, which you don't know anything, right?
No, I've never even. You just read the description and I said, what?
That'll be good. Okay. So first, like a little bit of history. It's thought that the Voynich manuscript originated in Europe. So University of Arizona researchers radiocarbon dated the manuscript's vellum to between 1404 and 1438. And also, McCrone's associates took paint samples of like the inks used for it to identify time period of the materials. And they found that the paints were from materials that were expected like from that time period in Europe. So it's probably from the early 15th century.
Well, do we know who he bought these from?
Yeah, I'll get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little like, well, the ownership is kind of like that we're not sure who owned it for parts of history, but we'll get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, right now. So the
I'm always getting ahead of you.
that's fine. The first confirmed owner was George Barish. I'm going to say that, I guess. A 17th century alchemist from Prague. So Barish was apparently puzzled by the writing and lamented about it taking up space uselessly in his library for many years. Like, since he couldn't read it, I guess. And he learned a Jesuit scholar, Athanasius.
Athanasius?
I think Athanasius Kircher from the Collegio Romano had published an Egyptian dictionary, and like he had claimed to decipher the Egyptian hieroglyphs. So Barish twice had sent like a sample copy of the Voynich script to him, like asking for clues. And there was a 1639 letter from Barish to Kircher that is the earliest like confirmed mention of the manuscript. And it's not known if Kircher answered the request, but like he was apparently interested enough to like try to just buy it from Barish, which Barish refused to do.
See, I have questions.
Okay.
I would love to know where he got it,
Right.
why he bought it, and why, if he didn't like it, why didn't he sell it?
Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't just sell it. I think he just wanted to know what it said. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe it was too valuable to him, but he thought it was useless since he couldn't read it, but still didn't want to get rid of it. I don't know. But Barish died, and the manuscript was then passed to his friend Jan Marek Marcy. A few years later, Marcy sent the manuscript to Kircher with a letter, so Kircher did end up getting it. So, like, the letter was still attached to the manuscript, and Voynich acquired it in 1912. And this was, like, in, 1665. So that's a long time for the letter to be with it. But the letter said, Reverend and Distinguished Sir, Father in Christ, this book, bequeathed to me by an intimate friend, I destined for you, my very dear Athanasius, as soon as it came into my possession, for I was convinced that it could be read by no one except yourself. The former owner of this book asked your opinion by letter, copying and sending you a portion of the book for which he believed you would be able to read the remainder, but he at that time refused to send the book itself. To its deciphering he devoted unflagging toil, as is apparent from attempts of his which I send you herewith, and he relinquished hope only with his life. But his toil was in vain, for such sphinxes as these obey no one but their master. Accept now this token, such as it is, and long overdue though it be, of my affection for you, and burst through its bars, if there are any, with your wonted success. Dr. Raphael, a tutor in the Bohemian language to Ferdinand III, then King of Bohemia, told me the said book belonged to the Emperor Rudolph, and that he presented to the bearer who brought him the book 600 ducats. Or ducats? I don't know. He
I
believed...
think that's how you say it.
Ducats? Ducat. I don't... Yeah. I think it is ducats.
I'm just thinking of the motorcycle Ducati.
Oh. Yeah. That's where it comes from. He believed the author was Roger Bacon, the Englishman. On this point, I suspend judgment. It is your place to define for us what view we should take thereon, to whose favor and kindness I unreservedly commit myself and remain at the command of your reverence, Johannes Marcus Marcy of Kronland. So Prague, 19th of August, 1665 or 66, I guess, because they couldn't tell if it was a 5 or a 6. But, like, so they said, like, it was originally this Emperor Rudolph guy's, like, he bought it from someone.
From Roger Bacon.
Well, he thinks the
Who's
author.
Roger Bacon?
I don't know, he's a big deal. We'll get into him, but, like, everyone thinks he's the author, but I don't think, he's not from the 15th century. So...
Oh.
Yeah.
He forged it.
Yeah, maybe.
People do that with stuff now. They try to make it old, so maybe they were doing that then.
Yeah, but it was, like, radiocarbon dated, so... Like, the paper,
Well,
at least, is from...
But if the paper was that old, and the paint was that old...
Right.
Like, they do that with wine labels. They'll find old pieces of paper and make them look real.
Oh. Yeah, but this is... We'll get in... It's
That's
pretty long.
too advanced.
This is, like...
Okay.
at least, like, 240 pages.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, like, you'd have to have a lot of unused paper. Old paper, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dr. Raphael is thought to be Raphael Sobierdnishkovsky, I guess.
It's
And
too many consonants next to each other.
there's a lot of people in this story, I guess. Voynich is the most, because he's the one who said he found it, and he's the one that's named after, but, so 600 ducats is like 67.5 troy ounces of actual gold weight, which would, like, be worth $154,000 around today.
Oh my.
Yeah. But the only matching transaction in Emperor Rudolph's records is the 1599 purchase of, quote, a couple of remarkable / rare books, end quote, from Karl Weidmann for the sum of 600 florins, which are Florentine florins, I guess, like they don't exist anymore. But that would also be worth around $158,000 just for its weight in gold in each coin.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I guess, like, it is probably true that Emperor Rudolph bought it in 1599, and I guess maybe from Karl Weidmann, who was a well-known collector of esoteric and alchemical manuscripts. So, like, it wouldn't be surprising if he did own the Voynich Manuscript, but, like, that's
Right.
unconfirmed. So, like, from it being sent to Kircher in, like, 1665, like, there's no record of the book for, like, the next 200 years. So, like, it was most likely stored with Kircher's other correspondences in the library of the Collegio Romano, which is now the Pontifical Gregorian University. So it was probably just in storage for, like, 200 years.
Okay.
And then, in 1870, the troops of Victor Emmanuel II of Italy captured the city and annexed the Papal States. I can't say anything correctly. I'll just, that's fine.
Papal's right.
Papal,
Or
yeah, okay.
papal. Or
Papal.
is it papal?
I don't know.
Papal.
Papal or
I don't know.
papal?
Something about the Pope.
Right, yeah, it's the Pope's whatever. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But the new Italian government confiscated many properties of the church, including the library of the Collegio. So many of the books that were there were like hastily transferred to the personal libraries of its faculty, which like those personal libraries were exempt from confiscation. So probably Kircher's correspondences were like among those that were transferred to Petrus Beck's personal library, which he was the head of the Jesuit order at the time. So it's assumed, like, obviously the Voynich manuscript was, like, in those books in, like, a trunk that got moved. And then Beck's private library was moved to the Villa Mondragon, I guess. Mondragon? I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, which is a large country palace near Rome that had been bought by the Society of Jesus in 1866 and housed the headquarters of the Jesuits' Gislary College. And in 1903, the Society of Jesus was short on money and decided to sell some of its holding discreetly to the Vatican Library. And so that sale took place in 1912, but not all of the manuscripts listed for sale like went to the Vatican. And this is where Wilfrid Voynich, who was a Polish book dealer, bought 30 of these manuscripts, and that's how he found the Voynich manuscript.
So there's more
Well,
that the.
no, this is the only one that's like unreadable.
But there. Oh.
Like he
Wait, but
just
there were.
bought like 30 manuscripts from of like different
Oh.
authors and stuff.
Okay, okay. But it's just the one.
Right.
One of 30 is this one.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and this one was the weird one that literally no one can decipher still.
And if the Vatican had gotten a hold of it, they would have burned it.
Yeah, maybe. It's the devil's work.
Yeah, exactly. Or they would have put it in their vault and no one would have ever seen it again.
Right. So it's good he bought like it I mean the documentary I saw it kind of made it seem like he just bought like a trunk full of them and this was in that trunk with them, I guess. I don't know if that's true or if he saw it before he bought it, but yeah, then he spent the next 7 years attempting to entice scholars to decipher the script, and he also worked to determine the origin of the manuscript. So in 1930, Wilfrid died, and the manuscript was inherited by his widow Ethel, who's author of The Gadfly, I guess. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but
Doesn't mean anything to me.
right. So she died in 1960 and left the manuscript to her close friend Anne Nill. And in 1961, Nill sold the book to an antique book dealer, Hans Kraus. And then Kraus was unable to find a buyer, so he donated the manuscript to Yale University in 1969, and that's where it remains and is being studied there. So that's kind of how the public now has access to it.
I do
So,
have pictures. Yeah.
yeah, there's pictures. Oh, yeah, there are lots of pictures.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, we can get into what this manuscript like contains, and there's a full like PDF linked in the description, like for anyone that's listening that wants to look at it as we talk about it. But yeah, I have photos for Sydney here, so. But the full manuscript measures 9.3 by 6.4 by 2 inches. But almost all of the pages contain drawings of some kind, and some of them are colored, and there are many pages that are like foldable sheets of various sizes, so like they fold out when you open it.
Like a pop up book?
Not like a pop-up, but you know, like an extra one that you can like fold out then.
Yeah, almost. What is it called? A centerfold?
Yeah, right. Like that. Yeah, so it's kind of intricate. And like I said already, it has around 240 pages. But like that kind of depends how you count the foldouts, I guess, because there's quite a few foldouts. And the vellum pages are collected into 18 quires, I guess, which quire is Q